Welcome to the show. I am Chris Marvell, and if you have been rocking with me for a while, you might notice something a little bit different down in that bottom right-hand corner. We are no longer the Shift Society podcast. We're now the Pivot Lab. Now, why? Okay, I'll be very upfront with you. This is not just a community. It's a lab. It's a workshop. It's a space where we break things down, where we experiment, where we test, we refine, and we help you master those pivots that you're making in life, those moves you're making, your mindset, your business forward thinking, your relationship. Like, we focus on those things, and we want to make sure that you're thinking, I'm going to the lab today. So this isn't like just a rebrand, with a new fancy name. It's really about stepping into what this show was always meant to be, and that's a space for real tools, real thinking, and the real work of transformation. All right. So for those of you who have been watching in the early infancy of this podcast, thank you. I'm very, appreciative of your time and attendance, and I don't take that for granted. So, and if you're new here, welcome. You're stepping into the lab. And we've got big things ahead. And so today we're diving into a very hard truth. Most people like to think that they think independently, that they're charting their own path, that, what I think is what I think and no one told me to think it. Okay. But if we're honest, we all follow someone, whether it's a political figure, it's a religious figure, it's a coach or an influencer. Like, that's normal. We would all agree. We're not, no man is an island unto himself. And so we're not here alone, and we're not influenced to do things alone, but we're wired for guidance and belonging. But the danger that I have found in the last 5 to 10 years is when admiration turns into idol worship. Like when following becomes blind loyalty, and you surrender all your ability to think and process your own thoughts outside of the group. Where, like, if that's a struggle and you know it, that's a checkpoint, right? You've handed over your pivot power, your power to shift, your power to move, and that's where things start to get dangerous for you and possibly for other people. Like this isn't just like fringe cults, right? It shows up in the workplace. It shows up online. It shows up at your home. It shows up in your community. What do you honestly think of when you think of some cult groups? What do you think of? I think of whether it could be religious groups. It could be groups that identify with a political cause. It could be something that you guys remember the group Heaven's Gate. They were a UFO cult, right? They were led by a guy named Marshall Applewhite, and he led a whole massive suicide because they believed that they were going to be on a spacecraft. Okay, fine. You remember them. Here's how you're going to remember them. They all wore the Nike Cortezes to go to sleep, right? I remember that. It's not funny, but that's the thing I remember the most. They were all in bunk beds and they had on Nike Cortez, and that was like the thing I remember. How about Jonestown? Led by Jim Jones in the 70s. Mass suicide, 900 people died in Guyana. Okay. What about the Branch Davidians? That was led by David Koresh, 93. The whole Waco siege where dozens of people died during the FBI standoff. Even things like Scientology. Okay. You have the leader, Ron Hubbard, who's been criticized widely for his aggressive control and his legal threats and the things that he's done, and these coercive, like, financial demands. When I tell you, you could go on and on and on, because what is symptomatic of all these groups is there's a charismatic leader within that group. All right. So for your life, how can you help recognize some of those signs so that you can avoid either being in something that you become numb to, or you can start recognizing others who may be involved in something like that? Okay. When we talk about the signs, one of the things you notice first is you stop questioning even when you know that things are starting to feel a little bit off, right? So you've been going to this ministry and it's like, yeah, that's not how we normally did things when I was coming up. Or I don't know, should we be doing that? Like if you ever asking yourself that question, like I don't know if we should be doing that. Or are we allowed to say that? Like that I'm not saying that is representative of something bad, but it is something for you to possibly question, for you to wonder a little bit more, right? What if you were in this behavior of defending the leader at all cost? And when I say all cost, they are doing things that are immoral, they are doing things that are illegal, and somehow, some way, you find a path to defend them, right? Something they're doing makes sense to you, and you don't think that other people, they just can't see it, right? They don't understand. They don't get what they don't see what you see. Okay. Um, what what about when people disagree with you and it feels like they're betraying you? It feels like, yo, you're disagreeing with me. Like this feels like are we even like do I even know you? Are we even family? Like I don't think I want to be with you. Like I don't think I want to be your family. I actually don't like you because you disagree with what I believe in, with my stance. Um, you also then right parallel to that have this whole idea of it's us versus them. It's uh my church versus your church. It's my team versus your team. It's my political party versus your political party. And if you were to think about stepping outside of that or questioning the group or whatever it could be, you might think that that might be dangerous. Like that might feel unsafe for you. I imagine if you were in the Branch Davidians group, right, and you wanted to leave, they may have tried to convince you to stay, but if you really kept pushing them, there might have been a chance you would have been killed because had you left, you would have maybe warned everyone else of what caused you to leave. So leaving the group may cause you to feel unsafe. Guess what? And that behavior or ideology keeps you stuck in a loop and you never leave. I mean, I've been in rooms, where I've thought, I don't know if this is what is cool. Like whether it could be something as simple as uh, a marketing, like what is it called? Network marketing, where you're in a group and you're like, I think that they're about to take our money. Like I don't know. Something about this don't seem like it's on the up and up. And what I've learned is, and before you ever get caught up in anything, is to like trust your gut. Like your gut is a culmination of the experiences that you have accumulated that acts like real time data. It is literally the most natural Google you have in your body. You've accumulated so much data from experiences, conversations, watching TV, things that you've heard, read. And now here is the moment of truth where everything you know about this situation is sounding an alarm. But too often we ignore the alarm. And that is where danger comes in because now we're ignoring the natural biological nature of who we are to not allow it to warn us. All right. So remember, a lot of these leaders, these cultish leaders, okay, they have a lot of things that are very formulaic. Okay. One of them is a lot of them are narcissists. Okay. A lot of them are narcissists. Okay. Now, how many of you know? How many of you know a narcissist in your life? How many of you know what a narcissist is? Does anybody? Fine, I'll give it to you. Okay. A narcissist is someone who typically inflates their own level of self-importance or uniqueness. They have a deep need for admiration. They always constantly need to be validated, or not even just validated, but felt as if they're right and correct. Maybe they lack empathy for others. But they want empathy for themselves, okay? Because they feel like they've been wronged constantly, right? Maybe they have a tendency to exploit or manipulate other people for their gain. Now, that may just be some of the signs of a narcissist, okay? But when we talk about like the extremes of a narcissist, we're talking a person that makes everything about themselves. They probably expect special treatment and unquestioned loyalty, period. They're angry. They manipulate when they're challenged. They struggle to acknowledge their impact of their behavior or their language on other people, right? Like they downplay what they do to you and uplift what other people do to them because what they're the most important thing in the room. All right. So we have to always just be on watch when we're trying to recognize, are you a narcissist? Are you not? All right. You're not going to change a narcissist because you love them more. You're not going to change them because, you decided that they needed to hear this message, or that's not going to happen. Okay. People become narcissists for different reasons, but you're not going to be a reason that they change. All right. We have to make sure that when we're looking out for some of these things, like a constant need to be praised and needing attention. Maybe it is another behavior, dismissing other people's feelings. Whatever you're feeling or going through is not that big of a deal. Like whatever you're thinking and going, not that big of a deal. Maybe they're gaslighting you, making you see something different than what's right in front of you. I know what I see. That's yellow. No, it's not yellow. It's beige. Well, no, it ain't beige. It's clearly yellow. Right under here, it's identified. Someone wrote yellow right under here. Yeah, they was tripping. What? Gaslighting you, okay? Causing you to feel differently about the reality that you actually see. Maybe they're blaming other people for their problems and failures. I'm just telling you what you should be looking out for when you are looking at a narcissist. Narcissist leaders, though, use a very specific playbook. All right? Playbook. All right? They run in the same plays and it's pretty constant. First, they love when you're strong. They make you feel special, chosen. This is the people who love me, right? These people here, they get me. This group, boy, you guys are amazing to really support me. That means that you must really listen. You're special. All the other ones are losers, right? Or they're really missing out on what we got going on over here. And then they start isolating you emotionally, making you feel as if, what you get from this group is greater than what you can get from anywhere else. Everyone else outside of the group becomes a threat. They need you to be loyal. Now, that loyalty and that versus everybody else on the outside is because they understand that if you start going on the outside talking to other people about your concerns, then that may draw you away from the group. So let's keep you isolated from any and other bits of information. Religious groups do this very proudly, right? What you believe here is right. This is what you believe here. This is the most right thing. And if you come outside of this, there may be punishment for you leaving the group. If you are belonging to a political organization or you support a political affiliate, the threat may be that if you leave, you're a part of that system that is bad for our country or that is bad for our people. And so now that even if you see signs that this is hazardous or this is not good, it is still a threat to you that you're going to become an outsider if you think differently. And that could be your friends, your family, whoever. If you think differently, you may be an outsider. So the loyalty has to be super high. There's not much like thought pattern, and it's they demand this loyalty not because like their ideas are flawless. It's because their ego can't handle the challenge that comes with a diverse array of opinion. Politically, think about this. If you only listen to one sect of news, then that means that there is an entirely different conversation happening in the next room of media, of thoughts, of leadership, of opinions, right? And if you don't ever go on that side, whether it's one side or the other, then that means that you're probably like ignorant to something. I'm not saying that you may ever agree, but what I want you to do is think to yourself, when was the last time I spent a considerable amount of time either reading or watching the opposite opinion of what it is I believe? And if you fear doing that, then what you believe is not rooted on belief, it's based on fear. If you can't have a conversation with someone who disagrees with your opinion because you feel as if they may draw me away from the group, then that says something. I think that's a strong, that in and of itself is a strong opinion. Think about it. Like a perfect example is if I talk to someone about my kids and I was afraid to talk to someone about my kids because I might think, you know what, they might make me not love my children, or I might not feel as strong defending my position about loving my children if I have to. So I'd rather just not talk about my kids because I'm scared, No, I could talk about my kids and how much I love them with anybody in the world because I am very confident to the brink of death that you cannot talk me out of loving my children. There's nothing you could do to stop me from loving my kids. I'll even go as far as to hear you out as to why my kids aren't good people. Cool. It's going to be a high calling for you to get me to not love them. Why are you afraid of having that conversation? Just a question, all right? So it's just a question. And again, when you're in these situations or these groups, trust me, it is not difficult for you to get to a space in which the thought that you have is you're scared to talk about it. I'm telling you, it's just not. And so why are we drawn to these people or these groups? Like, why are we drawn to idols? Like, why do we elevate people? It's because we're tired. It's easier to hand over the decision-making of your life or your opinion to someone who promises this clarity and certainty. Maybe you don't have a plan for your life or your finances. So you give it up to somebody else who has told you, hey, if you do this, then I promise you riches and glory on the other end. If you do this, I promise you I can get you to heaven faster. If you do this, I promise you that all the people who did you wrong in this country are going to pay, and that I'm going to make sure that you get everything you need. If you do this, you're going to get a spot on the team because our team is the best team and all the other teams are losers and they're cheating you. It's easier for you to not have to think through all those other options if someone is promising you clarity and certainty. And because we crave like belonging, because we want to believe someone out there has the answers that we don't, it's easier for us to give it up. It's easier for us to give it up. But no one has the full key to your life but you. No one. And making anyone an idol is dangerous. First off, God hates it, number one. And second off, it makes you blind to the dangers around you. If you're looking up at someone so high, then everything around you almost becomes black. You can't see anything. Only thing you're looking at is what this person says, believes, how they move. They're right. There's nothing they can do wrong. Oh my goodness, they're right again. I just can't believe it. And even when they're wrong, you won't ever look down enough to tell other people that you think they're wrong. You can't. You've put your chips into the middle. So you, at this point, now there's shame attached to backing up and saying, you know what? I might have been wrong about this. You know what? I think I'm going to leave that church. You know what? That group of friends, yeah, the things they were meeting about, I know I told everybody how great they were and how dope they were, but I think I need to back out of this because this is feeling a little weird. I know we started off a certain way and had good energy, but suddenly, I don't know, man, I'm giving up information. I'm having to meet them 6 times a week, and I don't know. It ain't feeling good. And that shame will lock all that opinion up. You will want to say something, but you're caught in the idol. You're caught looking up, and you can't back down. So I will tell you how to protect yourself. How can you reclaim your power? How can you get yourself back to being in control? Because that's what you want control. I believe that many people have spent such a long period of time in something that they may love. I'm not saying that you don't love it, but it has too much of you. So I'm not saying that you need to disregard the opinion that you have or the organization you're with or what you're believing, whatever it is, right? It's just that I may be practicing cult-like behavior. Even if it's not a cult, I could be practicing cult-like behavior. I could be making this an idol where it really didn't ask for that. Maybe it is me. It may not be the organization. The organization may just allow it because, hey, people like power. They like to be admired. They like, they love that, right? And so what they're going to do is not tell you to stop. If you want to give your time and all your money to this situation or this belief or this movement, then by all means, they're going to allow you to do it. So it may be you that's the problem that needs to take a step back so that you can reclaim your power. Because I imagine that when you're so into something like that, whatever it may be, you've probably lost friends, you've probably lost family, you've lost your time, maybe your outside hobbies, whatever it is, you have lost you've lost some of yourself because you've given it away to whatever it is that has too much of you. So you want to ask yourself, am I following ideas or just charisma? Ask yourself, is there intellect behind these ideas, or am I just caught up in the energy? Am I just caught up in the aura? Am I caught up in the mist of what's going on? Right? I just want to be a part of something. And you stop asking and questioning things. I want you to also diversify your influences. Hear multiple viewpoints. And a lot of times, of course, when it comes to religion, that may be a little bit more difficult. True, fair. If you go to an organization that only feels that place of worship is the only right one, then you should really question things. If the church you go to is the only right church, if that ministry that you go to that is popped up out of nowhere and has 50 people in it and everybody is feeling like this is the place to be, but if you leave here, I don't know, I want you to really start to go ask someone else that doesn't go there. Hey, what do you think about this place? Here's some opinions. Be open-minded. When it comes to what you hear on the news, same thing. Hey, I want to listen to something else today. I want to put on something else and hear what is the rest of the country talking about? What is the rest of the world discussing as it pertains to this? Have I been in a bubble? Have I been in an echo chamber where what I hear is all I hear? I just hear it back and forth. It just bounces back and forth between my head. I turn it on. It's all I hear every single day. Are you willing to challenge yourself? Also, surround yourself with people who sharpen, not just affirm. It's okay. I said this in the last podcast that iron sharpens iron as another man sharpens another man. And what you're saying to yourself is, I am iron, right? You're acknowledging that I too am iron, but I need some level of conflict. Iron sharpening iron. I need good conflict to stay sharp. Conflict isn't always bad. Good conflict keeps me sharp. Good conflict keeps me awake. It keeps me ready to battle the war that's going on in my life or around my family. Keeps me able to protect so that I'm not dull. If you stay in a bubble in which all the opinions are the things that support you, or you only read things that further affirm your opinion, then guess what? You're becoming dull. You would not be ready for a true battle. You wouldn't be. You wouldn't be prepared because you're not well read. You don't have a multitude of opinions. You stay in the same groups and in circles. You're not willing to surround yourself with different people. Whatever it is, you lived in the same town for the last 50, like whatever it is, you are not as sharp as you think. If you look around you, you're pretty comfortable and you're dull. All right. So it's easy for you to succumb to something that just comes to you naturally. Oh, suddenly there's a group of people around you and you're like, you're not even ready to battle with an opinion. You don't even think about it. It's just happening. Things are changing around you. People are coming to your house all of a sudden, and things are starting to change, and people are asking you for this and that. You're just dull, not ready for war, not ready for anything, to combat anything. You're just no one's sharpening your sword. So, also resist making anyone your savior. Leaders, mentors, politicians, pastors, they're all human, all of them, right? When they use the bathroom, it stinks. They need to shower every day. They need to eat food. They need to, right? They get sad, they get happy, they get mad. They are not your savior. They're human. You shrink yourself when you place them on a pedestal. Naturally, you look up, you get smaller, they get bigger. You shrink yourself when you put them on a pedestal. They are human like you. And leaders, for those of you who are watching that are leaders, I want you to check yourself. If you're influencing other people, check yourself. Are you multiplying your power or hoarding it? Are you releasing power? Now listen. When you do have influence, there's a certain amount of influence that at some point you need to release and start multiplying. Like you need to start helping other people become a version that they desire to be that is reflective of you. But if everyone's looking at, I used to work when I was working somewhere, and after a while you started to notice no one's able to elevate because the leader has refused to move on. And the leader was so comfortable in their position that everyone else was bottlenecked into what they could become in this company. And I thought that was just so sad that this leader wanted to hoard power for their own sake of comfort, and everyone else had to suffer for it. So are you multiplying power? Where, in the contrast of that, this person could have moved up, challenged themselves even more to a new position, got promoted, which I'm sure they would have been offered to be promoted, and they would have had new challenges, grown in life. And guess what? Down the road, here comes another person taking their spot, and then another person that takes that person's spot, and everybody gets to move up. But leaders, check yourself. Are you multiplying power or are you hoarding it? Are you becoming an idol in your workplace? And do you like idol type power and influence? Some people like that. If you're in law enforcement, guess what? You have a level of power how are you operating in power? What do you do with it? Does it fill you up? Does it make you feel tough? Do you like when people have to look at you with a level of fear? Are you leading from alignment with the community? Are you leading from alignment with the people that work for you? Are you leading from alignment with your family? Or is it out of fear of losing control? And so anytime you're approached with someone who disagrees with you, you snap, you fire them, you make sure you put them in their place, you sit them down so they don't have authority anymore, right? Anybody that comes and steps to the throne of you, it's no way they're going to be able to survive in your space because you are king or queen, and how dare someone challenge you? You're hoarding power. And I will tell you that does not make God happy. He will make sure that he removes all that. All right. So again, I just wanted to just insert this here today because I thought it was important that we understand how to recognize, number one, when you're seeing a cult. And then number two, how to also recognize when you're around narcissistic behavior. So it's a kind of a dual lab, but I didn't create the Pivot Lab honestly to build followers. I created it so that I can help people lead themselves. And this week I'm challenging you, where are you handing over your decisions? It could be in your house. Is someone doing the thinking for you? Is someone um, leading you down somewhere you don't want to go? Who is it? Is your boss telling you what to do, and you're listening to them because, hey, look at them. Oh my God, they made it. Look, oh my God, I want to be like them. Is it some social media influencer? Where are you handing over your decisions? Where are you shrinking your own authority? Are you stepping into the person that you were created to be? Like created to be. You created to be. Like you're a completely different version of anyone else on earth. No one exists like you. And are you trying to mimic someone else's existence? And what's the one small pivot you can make to reclaim that? I want you to figure that out. What is the one thing I can do this week to reclaim this portion of me, my thoughts, my identity, my voice? I gave that up, Chris. I stopped thinking for myself. I was ambitious, or I wanted to love them. I wanted love. I wanted whatever it is. I want to reclaim that part of myself. The world doesn't need more blind followers. It needs people who can pivot wisely, who can think sharply, who can move boldly, no matter who's watching. All right. And so, again, I thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you like, share, and follow. This is the Pivot Lab podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. I'll see you soon.